that late scare from Spurs as we welcome in Don Hutchison to talk more about this. That was a nervy finish, Don.
It was. They shouldn't have made it nervy because Shaka had a chance just before half-time. That was cleared off the line from Vicario. Great save to make it 4. But all of a sudden, the game turned very chaotic towards the end. I thought Arsenal were in full control. I think in the end, when you analyse the performance of both teams, I think the scoreline flattered Tottenham. Arsenal should have been out of sight, but it was very, very nervy towards the end of the game. I mean, what I would say about Ange Postecoglou is sometimes this season, it feels as though his team have been a little bit naive. I go back to the Chelsea game, Newcastle last week, a couple of weeks ago, when the analysis was done on how his teams play with Pedro Porro being inverted and a doggy. It was Ben Davies today. They're very predictable. Same sort of scenario today. And what I would say, when you're analysing how Arsenal attack set plays, corners, Ben White always stands on the goalkeeper. He always tries to put him off. Shaka will know, and it's normally on the goalkeeper to have the conversation with the coaching staff. What do you want in that scenario? Well, I think, and Shaka might disagree, you want someone that's going to protect the goalkeeper and allow him a little bit of space to try and come out and attack the ball. Funny enough, they did that at half-time when they brought Pap Sarr on. He was the player that got in front of Vicario and stopped Ben White from making any challenges. So I thought from Tottenham's point of view, the game was chaotic, but the tactics from the coach and the manager was a little bit naive. That's work that should be done weeks ago.
You were annoyed at the Spurs defence for not providing...
Absolutely, because we've seen this before. And given Arsenal's strength from set pieces, again, I am I'm surprised, if not disappointed, at Spurs' own naivety around everything, because those ultimately were set pieces, were their undoing.
And while I agree with Don and you that there should be a defender there or a defending player that is protecting Vicario, I also have to say, if you're the goalkeeper, and I don't want to speak out of term here, Shaggy, you're the goalkeeper, right? You're the goalkeeper. Push the guy out of the way. Stop playing just patty cakes with Ben White. Get him out of the way. You have the power to do that. And in fact, most of the time, once you try to fight through that challenge, you're going to be given a foul in favor of the goalkeeper. If you try to fight through the challenge and somehow you're impeded by that attacking player, in this case Ben White, usually you're given a foul as well. I don't understand why Vicario just kind of takes a push back and say, oh yeah, push me, get on the way. Hold on. You are the one that has the responsibility now to get him out of the way.
Now, here's the thing with that. As a goalkeeper, from the time you use your arms to move somebody out the way, you're, especially given how the game has gone, you're more liable to get a call against you. So I'm a little bit more reluctant as a goalkeeper to be using my hands, 2 hands on Ben White, in this case, to move him out of the way or whatever the case may be. You put another defender there, and they are going shoulder to shoulder. And as long as he's not wrestling with Ben White or whoever else it may be, if they're going shoulder to shoulder and it's just about each player's physicality, you're not going to get that, or you're more likely to, the defender is more likely to get the call. Which is why, again, to Don's point, put a defender there. Let him do that dirty work. And again, if there's no defender there, Ben White just comes around the last minute. As a goalkeeper, I can't be looking behind me to see what Ben White is doing. I have to be looking at the ball when that service is coming. Ben White times his run to perfection, and all of a sudden, I'm struggling.
Let's get to those first half penalty claims, particularly Trossard's clip on Kulusevski. Don, how did you see it?
Not for me. Commentating on the game in real time, we had the VAR in our ears, and I think it was a natural coming together.
Why fight it? You're not going to get rewarded. There's no incentive to stay up. There is no incentive to stay up because more times than not, the referee is not going to give you the foul if you take 1, 2, 3 steps and then go down. My message all along has been, if you feel contact, go down and have the referee do his job. Now, some people say that's living in the fringes of legality of the game. I'm saying you've taken my advantage by touching me. You've taken whatever advantage I've created, you've taken it away. Now you're impeding my progress. And so therefore, why would I fight through it? What is the incentive if the referee is not going to give me a foul and it's not going to reward me if I take 1, 2, 3 additional steps? So if I'm an attacking player, I feel contact, I'll go down. If Shaka touches me right now, I'll go down. That's just how it works.
Go on, Don.
Ali, I wonder, Ali, the reason why Kulusevski didn't hit the floor, because he knew it wasn't a penalty. So he tried to stay on his feet to try and provide a ball to James Maddison on the edge of the box. That's why he probably fought it, because in the back of his mind he thought, that's not a penalty.
I don't. Don, I like to give Kulusevski that sort of credit in the middle of the game. No, I don't think that's the case at all. He gets touched and doesn't quite know how to react to it and tries to fight through it. And it's like, well, I'm going to make the most out of this play. My message to him is, attend the diving camp with me this summer, and I'll tell you, Dejan Kulusevski. Go down. You get touched, go down. Because now Michael Oliver has to make a decision. Now there's a decision to be made. And if he had given this as a penalty, this doesn't get overturned. And guess what happens? There's no Bukayo Saka goal. There's no 2-0 lead for Arsenal. It's a potential 1-1 situation. It changes the outlook of the game.
Was it a penalty?
Yes, it was a penalty.
No.
Yes, it was a penalty. Look, this, again, I fight against this all the time. And I can feel really the tension coming from Shaka over here. I can feel it. I can sense it. Look, is he impeded? Even if it is by accident, even if there's no intent, he was in an advantageous position. Was he impeded by the touch by Leandro Trossard? And if the answer to that is yes, then you have to consider the possibility that this is indeed a penalty. He was impeded. He lost his balance because of that touch. He was in a good running position. Once there was the touch, he loses his balance. Now it's a situation where he's struggling. And now it creates this sort of gray area in which, do you go down, do you not? There is no gray area, Dejan. Go down. Go down and force Michael Oliver to make a decision.
One says yes, one says no. What do you say?
That wasn't
Shaka?
a penalty.
That
wasn't.
I can feel the tension.
That wasn't a penalty. Though, to Ali's point, had it been given, I don't think it gets overturned. And I think you can quite easily make an argument, if it were given, as to why it should be a penalty. But my thinking is this, is Kulusevski plays the ball, I think it's into Heung-min Son, and he's running side by side with Trossard. Maybe just a little bit advanced of him. And the ball back from Son isn't a great one. It's back towards the top of the box. And so Kulusevski, not in possession, cuts across the front of Trossard. And in my mind, it's Kulusevski who initiates the contact because he's cutting across Trossard, because the ball isn't a great one.
Oh, my goodness.
Now where are you feeling that negative energy coming from?
Don't worry, Ali. Don't worry.
Because an attacking player cuts across a defending player, now he's going into the defender.
He's not in possession of the ball. Neither of them are if he's in possession of the ball, say two players are running towards goal, and the striker cuts across the front of the defender. We always say that it's the defender's responsibility to avoid that contact. But he's not in possession. If it's given, I don't think it gets overturned.
Okay, now here's my point, right? If only we had a system in place that could allow the referee to take a good look at it, just a second look, and he can hang on to whatever his interpretation and whatever his initial call was. But I think it was important enough in the game to at least allow the referee to take a second look at it.
You don't have to call him referee for a second look at everything. That's not penalty.
All right.
Never a foul.
Hang on. Don, let's get off this subject.
It's never a foul.
If you guys are not going to agree on it, and you're going to back him up, what else stood out to you, Don, from this game? What do you want to talk about?
I thought the quality of Bukayo Saka, I thought he was immense. A young boy that's took a lot of bad tackles, and he's even said it. He now treats it as a compliment. I thought he was magnificent. There's a few scars on those young knees, and there'll be a fair few more because he's brave. He takes the ball in difficult areas. I just think from a Tottenham point of view, Kay, I think they're starting to become a little bit predictable and a little bit naive. They're trying to copy someone else's style. They're trying to copy Guardiola with the inverted fullbacks. If you're Ben Davies coming into the game today and you're playing in a back four and you know Pedro Porro is going to be the most advanced fullback, stay in your position. You're up against Bukayo Saka. Why on earth would you just wander into inverted positions to try and create overloads and you're going to leave Bukayo Saka free? You know, if Pedro Porro does it from the right-hand side, all you're doing with Romero and Van der Ven and Davis then is just shuffling across to make it three. It's almost like they're getting sucked into this off-the-cuff football, and when it works, it looks good. When it doesn't, they get battered. James Maddison never got a kick, and he can't last 90 minutes. He keeps getting taken off from Postecoglou. So I guess, and I get the sense that if you're James Maddison and one or two others, you're starting to get a little bit frustrated at the tactics. OK,
Jan Fjørtoft is not on the show tonight, so I will take his role and start the conversation on how awesome Kai Havertz is.
I get the point. Kai Havertz has been a whole lot better than anybody expected him to be. So give well, either Kai or Arteta or both credit for that. But I still think that in the biggest occasions, in the moments when he's needed most, I'm not sure that he's the player you rely on. And I was talking to Stevie a couple of days ago and about when I went to the Emirates to see that Arsenal-Villa game. There was a moment in the first half where Kai Havertz gets played clean through. The flag eventually went up after the play had finished. But he gets played clean through. I'm sitting among Arsenal fans at the far end, so we can't see if he's offside. As far as we know, he's clean through. Linesman keeps his flag down. Not a single Arsenal fan moves. He goes through on Emi Martinez, who makes a save, and everybody around me just goes, yep, there we go. That's Kai Havertz. And that kind of spoke to some of the disappointments around Kai Havertz. And that's coming from Arsenal fans around me.
Against Villa, but then in the derby he does what he did today. What are the Arsenal fans saying about that?
Well, they understand that when you need a third goal, he's the man. When to make it 3-0,
a winning goal in the end.
Well, in the end, but that's more to do with Arsenal's feelings defensively. But when you need a cherry on top of your cake that's already been iced, somehow Kai Havertz is the man. That's my point. When you start to rely on Kai Havertz in big moments, then I will sing from Jan Sim Songsu.
Okay, well, you shouldn't do that, period.
Well,
okay.
Yeah.
In any case, as it pertains to Arsenal, I'm not going to focus on Kai Havertz. I'll just focus on the fact that today, in the first half, not necessarily in the second half, but in the first half, there was a certain maturity to their performance. Well, there was a lot of emotion from Spurs, and here we go, and they're trying to press you higher off the field. I saw an Arsenal team that sometimes absorbed some of that pressure, that were deeper in their defensive posture, and then where there were moments in which they could press higher, they realized that they could do that, and then they were mature enough and brave enough to go ahead and do that as well away from home. The understanding of when to sit, when to go press, really good understanding from what Arsenal wanted to do defensively in the first half. The set pieces continue to be a big part of what they do offensively. They create chaos with the quality of their service. They scored a goal. Kai Havertz does that as well with good service, good header. All of those things are great for Arsenal. I don't understand why you have to go into the second half, be in control of a game, and get yourself into a stressful situation. And that's the part that I think they're going to look at and say, okay, this we got to cut out. Because while you get away with it now, you don't want it to show up at the worst time possible. And now every single game becomes critical. Every single game you have to be perfect. You have to continue to keep the pressure on Manchester City. In order to do that, you have to cut out some of this mistake. But the first 45 minutes were impressive with the level of maturity of Arsenal and the way they approached the game.
It was a landmark win as well today for Mikel Arteta as Arsenal manager. The fewest matches to reach 100 league wins among Arsenal managers, ahead of Arsene Wenger with 179. He's done it in 169 games.
And Van de Ven is really quick, by the way. Ooh. Man, he can run. That's all I'll say. Side note.
You and Craig always agree. All right.